Hello and welcome back to the FSF podcast. I am Tim, your host and the head king around this here nerdatorium. And this is your reminder that this show is a show made by a nerd for you nerds. So I'm glad to have you here. Now, our guest tonight in the nerdatorium is an actor, producer, director, someone who's spent time even as a professional poker player, which I'm kind of curious about because I have probably the worst poker face known to humanity, and I would never make it past the first cut. But you've seen him in movies like Blue-Eyed Girl, as well as Bandit, The Card Counter, Like Father, Like Son, Wingman, and there's a variety of other movies as well. Tonight, we're going to discuss his entry into acting, the draw of professional poker. That, I'm not going to lie, that's kind of got me curious. And his musical influences as well. There's a whole lot to talk about with our guest tonight. Please help me welcome Dylan Flashner to the FSF podcast. Welcome to the show, Dylan.
How's it going?
Real good, man. Yeah, excited to have you here. There's so much. After your rep reached out to me and we were talking, and I was looking at your stuff, there was a whole bunch of stuff. I was like, I want to touch about this. We're gonna talk. And after a while, you got to cut some of it back because it's like you only have so much time, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, unless we're gonna turn this into like a weekly 10-part series where we discuss all of Dylan Flashner in decades. There's a whole bunch I want to talk about, but tonight where we're going to start is the same place I start with every interview, because and I explain this in every interview. I do it for two reasons. Number one, I like to know what makes people tick, why they do what they do, why they're involved in what they're doing. Okay. And then secondly, I'm a ginormous nerd, and us nerds, we love a good origin story. So in the case of Dylan Flashner, our hero for tonight's story, what is your origin, man? What got you to the point where you said, I want to be in the entertainment business?
Oh man, I think it started at a really young age, even though I didn't get into the industry till I was about 25. So I'm 32 now, so it's kind of interesting. But I always loved entertaining people. I wanted to be a pro athlete when I grew up, and that was kind of like my origin of wanting to entertain people through something. I tried professional wrestling, like WWE kind of thing.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I did that when I was 18, and then I started doing music around 20. And I did that for a little bit and got discovered on a music video set of mine by a TV producer that wanted to make a pilot for ABC. And that pilot will never be seen. Don't worry about that. But it was my first. It was my first gig, and they made me the lead, and it was really interesting to drop straight in and kind of dive with the sharks. But I think I always wanted to entertain. I just wasn't really sure how to get into it.
Okay. All right. So that leaves me with a couple of questions. Because number one, I missed somewhere that you were involved in professional wrestling.
Yeah,
so I did not see
very,
that.
It's not very known. I haven't really mentioned it in an interview before, so this is a
All right.
first for me.
All right. Well, cool. So now I have to know, what was your wrestling name?
Oh man, I didn't get that far. I
Okay.
did 6 months. I did 6 months of training, and my first match was supposed to be about a year in. So,
Okay.
yeah, I didn't get past that part. I probably would have gone by my name, Dylan, and probably added some fictitious last name to it. But Flashner kind of rolls off the tongue too. So I don't know. It's interesting. I never really got that far.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm always curious because I've talked with a couple other people who have done some level of professional wrestling before, and they've had these, they go through iterations of that name, or they'll be this guy for a little while, and then that guy, the persona becomes this thing, and then it becomes this thing before one of them catches on, and they be that person. Like Stone Cold Austin, right. Steve Austin was not always Stone Cold Steve Austin. He was
the ringmaster for a while too.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So there's always something that always kind of precedes that. So it's always kind of interesting to me. All right. Now, that's kind of interesting. That was, yeah. So what was there another form of sports that you were involved in that you were pursuing for a little bit as well, or was it always kind of pointing you towards professional wrestling?
You know, it's funny. I played a little bit of college basketball and college football at a D3 school out here in California. Um, and that was kind of my sports origin, is playing those in high school and growing up playing those. So um, nothing really led me to professional wrestling except for the fact I was a huge fan, and um, I love thinking about telling stories through your body and doing that kind of thing. And I always idolized wrestlers when I grew up, and it was just something that I really wanted to try and say I tried it. Um, 2 concussions later, it's one of those things. But I think what people don't understand about professional wrestling is it's extremely real. The
Oh yeah.
injuries are real, the storylines might not be, but the actual injuries are real. And I have a lot of respect for those guys. I mean, they bust their butt all the time. Um, but yeah, it's not really the way I thought life was gonna go, but I wanted to try it.
All right, so Dylan, let's transfer from the world of professional wrestling, and let's talk about one of your most recent movies, and that's the movie Blue Eyed Girl. So I'm
Yeah.
hoping what you'll do is you'll take our audience on a little bit of a travel here. Tell them about your character and what they can look forward to with that movie.
Yeah, so the movie is basically about this woman who goes through a little bit of a marriage trouble, and she travels back to her hometown and um deals with an ex from her past. And it's really a story about her father as well, who's sick, and the trials and tribulations of all of that. I play Prince Titan and Dan. I play 2 characters technically. um, it's the boyfriend to the sister. And
Okay,
yeah, so basically, my character really likes LARPing and role playing. So
nice.
he's kind of the king of the LARPers a little bit. Um, and I had to do a British accent for that. So that was very interesting. And yeah, so hopefully people enjoy it. It's pretty funny. But the movie itself is takes you through a little bit of humor and a little bit of romanticized kind of drama. So yeah, it's a really nice watch for people that haven't seen it yet.
Okay, so are you? So did you have to do research on LARP, or is that something you were already involved with, and you had, or at least had some base knowledge in?
Yeah, I had seen it in pop culture before, but I had never really delved into the life of, live action role playing. So, um, yeah, I had to do a little research. I also, had to keep the humor in it, so I couldn't take it as, you want to take it as seriously as they do, but you also want to
Sure.
make it funny. So, um, yeah, it was interesting. I probably researched a good few days on LARPing, which is an interesting rabbit hole to go down on the internet. But
Yes, it is.
yeah, yeah, I definitely did research before this.
Okay. Yeah, one of our team members here, Ben, is a LARPer. Ben lives is my friend who lives up in Juneau, Alaska, and he's got they've got a whole crew up there, and they do LARPing and everything. As a matter of fact, Ben just recorded a video for us. It should be coming out here soon on our YouTube channel about live art, LARP kits for winter play.
Yeah,
How to dress warm and stay warm, and and
that's
all these
amazing.
different things. So yeah, that's a pretty interesting one. It's We call it Ben's fantastical rants. That's what we call it.
I love
But he
that.
goes,
That's great.
yeah, they'll get on screen and they'll just kind of go through a bunch of things. They're a real big fan of Lord of the Rings, and so they'll if you really want to wind Ben up, all you gotta do is point them towards something Lord of the Rings and say, Gandalf, and go.
Yeah.
But anyway, hi Ben.
Yeah.
So anyway, but yeah, so that's an interesting concept because I think when anytime you can expand your knowledge on anything, especially if it's something maybe that you're not particularly accustomed with or used to,
Right.
um, anytime you can learn about anything, I think it's always a good thing. Is there something about the LARPing world though that you looked at and you went, that might actually be fun? Was there something about it that you found entertaining?
Yeah, I played King, like Prince Titan, so I was kind of king of everything. So, it being the head of the crew is kind of fun. Not gonna lie, like I really love performing and doing that kind of thing anyway. So for me, it was, I did a soliloquy basically of monologue for this one. So
Nice.
yeah, it was interesting to me. I don't know if I would actually do it in real life because it's not in my character to kind of do it outside of acting, but I can see why it's so fun. Like I get the whole camaraderie thing, and
Hmm.
the idea of replaying old events. Like I think that's really cool too. So um yeah, I get the fun in it.
Okay. I feel I think probably the same as you do. I think it's a really cool idea. I think it looks like a lot of fun. Whereas I'm like, oh, we're gonna play role playing games. Cool. Let me go get my dice.
Yeah.
I'll play some D&D with you. I'll roll some dice. Oh,
Yeah,
you want to
right.
go outside? There's other people out there. Uh,
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's how I feel too. I'm a homebody, so I get
yeah,
it.
you're gonna make me people. Oh, but yeah, that's a whole
So
nother
funny.
topic.
Yeah.
But okay. So I was looking over your resume and I was looking at some of the movies and things that you've been involved with, and you have worked with some of the bigger names in Hollywood, and I'll do a little bit of name dropping here. You've worked with people like Oscar Isaac, Willem Dafoe, Josh Duhamel, Alicia Cuthbert, Mel Gibson, and that's just kind of scratching the surface of some of the folks that you worked with.
Yeah.
For you personally, what has working on movie sets with experienced Hollywood actors and actresses like that taught you?
Oh man. One of my first movies ever, I did one with Morgan Freeman. And
Hmm.
that was really kind of an eye-opening experience for me, just how he dealt with everything. People were approaching him left and right. And um I really learned how to work at a high level early on in my career because I was able to watch high level people work at that level.
Hmm.
And to see how they dealt with all the external factors, I think kind of got me to realize you have to stay present and you have to stay in the moment. And I take my phone away. That's one thing I saw Morgan do was he left his phone in his trailer. Um, and working with Josh Duhamel, he really kind of took me under his arm um, and kind of showed me the ropes of how this kind of works because I was so early on. I didn't really know. Um, I didn't even know what they called dinner or lunch kind of thing. Like I was really new to the industry, so um, I really think it's interesting how those guys are the most humble as well. Um,
Yeah.
like I think you have to be a great person to make it far in life for the most part, at a certain point. Some are nicer than others, but those aren't the egos I've dealt with in this industry, the tip top of Hollywood. So kudos to them for keeping it real.
Okay. Yeah, that's a nice lesson to learn. And if you can, yeah, the way I think I relate most to that comment. So I've never been on a movie set, but when I was real young, I started I used to sell doors and hardware. It was very, very exciting to contractors and things. And yeah, uh, but I learned at the feet of a an elderly gentleman who taught me a lot, not just about the work that we were doing, but how to do it. And some of that even applied to the way I live my life outside of work. Have you found that any of those things, those lessons that you were taught on set, do you find those things applying to you offset as well?
Yeah, yeah, I think for sure. And I hate name dropping, but I'll do it again. Mel Gibson kind of took me aside. We've done a few movies together, and he was like, keep to yourself. Don't get involved in this whole Hollywood business, this whole, fame and fortune thing. Like, really stay true to yourself and really stay humble all the time. And um, yeah, I've taken lessons and really applied it to my life. I have a small circle. I have, not that many people that I, involve with what I'm getting involved with, because it's just, it's my business. It's none of anybody else's business that way. And I think keeping
Mhm.
your, home life separated from your work life is very important. So yeah, I've taken all these lessons and really applied them in my own life.
Awesome. Yeah, that's one of the things that I was taught was, whatever is going on during the day, don't take it home with you. If you've had a
Right.
good day, leave it at the office. If you've had a bad day, you leave it at the office. Your
Yeah,
family deserves the best of you when you get home.
absolutely.
You know, and so that was a nice lesson for me, and it kind of sounds like that was, somewhat of the lesson that you were shared with as well. So very
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. So in the beginning, you were talking about your origin story and how you came up and you were discovered on your music video. So now I have to know because I did some research and I could not find the Dylan Flashner music videos.
Okay.
So
Yeah. So they
so I
never
have to
came
know.
they never came out. Just to
That's
preface
okay.
that. Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
So that's why I couldn't find them because I was
Yeah.
looking. But what type of music were you interested in? What type of
Oh,
music were you performing?
rap and hip hop.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, yeah. It was a little bit of melodic rap is like what I like to call it.
Okay.
Um, I was really intrigued with that growing up as I was a basketball fiend. So when it came to that, I had a lot of urban influence in terms of
Sure.
music and how I was brought up. So um, I attached to hip hop and rap. I would rap with my friends in the backyard. I would come up with rhymes in class. I would do that kind of thing. And um, yeah, I did that. And I was filming. I had 5 songs I was going to release, and I was filming those 5 music videos at the time, and that's when I got discovered.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So is there a let's take that part now and let's look at influences. So who were some of your musical influences in the rap and hip hop genre that made you say, "Well, hey, man, maybe I can do this too. Maybe this is something I want to look into."
Yeah, I'm gonna get a little hate for this answer probably, but Drake was a huge one for me growing up.
Okay.
Yeah, he was a big musical influence. Justin Timberlake, believe it or not, was a big musical
Sure.
influence of mine. I loved Big Sean and J. Cole, two
Oh yeah. Yeah.
rappers as
Yeah.
well. So, um, yeah, those guys really influenced me to get into lyricism and stuff like that. And um, I just really idolized those guys growing up and got to meet a few of them, which is really cool. And um, they they were fairly supportive of my little dream, but I was not nearly as good at music as I am, I think, at acting. So um, it never sees the day. I kind of got into the acting thing and just kind of rolled with it. So um, maybe one day I release it just for fun, but
There you
um,
go.
for now it's just in my hard drive.
All right. So I mean, like, with some people, they start with music, they'll work their way into acting, and then over some time, now that they've established themselves here, they release music in the future.
Yeah,
So, I mean, that's always something that you can keep not only just in your hard drive, but in the back of your head and something you
yeah,
can think about.
yeah. No, it's definitely in the long term plan. I think I've been asked to do some music for movies that I've been into. Um,
Okay,
so there's going to be some of that that dives into it and kind of connects, but
nice.
um, Yeah, at the moment I'm so married to the acting thing that I'm kind of declining those at the moment and just, sticking with what I know.
That's fair. I mean, it's a natural crossover too. I mean, you're already in the movie, and if they're asking you to at some point, I can see why you would maybe hold off for a little bit,
Yeah,
but yeah, I
yeah.
think that might be cool. That might
Yeah,
be
it'd be
cool.
really
Oh,
cool.
all right. So, in my continued uh research, some will call it digital stalking. I like to call it research.
I appreciate the stalking. I really do.
As I said in the introduction, I found out that you spent some time as a professional poker player.
Yeah, yeah, I did.
All right,
Um,
so
yeah,
because
yeah,
I was figuring it was either you or another guy named Dylan Flashner that looked a lot like you with sunglasses on.
yeah, I
Oh,
can't hide. I can't hide.
all right. I mean, hey, we all have our games, our hobbies, things that we like to play for the thrill,
Yeah.
distraction. Maybe it's the ability to decompress. What does poker do for you, and what draw about it drew you to it?
Oh man. It's funny enough, I played a tournament right before this. I I love the art of manipulation. I think there's something about the game that's so interesting to me. You're going to war with another person mentally, and it's to see who can kind of outwit the other person. And um, I was just really drawn to the fact that I was decent at numbers, and I got kind of that part of it down, and um, I got to use my acting as part of the game a little bit. Um, I just I love how mindless it is, but I also love how intense it can be on the mind, and um, I just love playing. So I just naturally kind of gravitated into that, and I'm a little bit of a gambler, obviously. So um, that part of it is a lot of fun too. So it's interesting, but I played professional poker for about a year and a half.
Okay. I think it's kinda cool. I mean, you have to be willing to be a little bit of a gambler on yourself, your own career, to take the chances that you've taken,
Right.
to take some of the steps that you've taken. Um, you know, but yeah, I mean, so you did it for a year and a half. Any draw at, like, going back to it and not even maybe not even full time, but going back for some more high profile tournaments or things like that?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think that's in my future plan. I'm actually producing a movie that is about poker.
Okay.
So that's kind of in the works. And when that kind of drops out and rolls out, I was thinking about kind of going on a little bit of a tour and playing a lot of these high profile tournaments and stuff like that. So, um, yeah, it's in my near plans for sure. It's a tough game, and I think people should understand that when I preface that it's playing against those professionals, they're sharks.
Oh, yeah.
They're really tough, and I've been lucky enough to play some of the biggest names in the poker industry, and um, they kicked my what. So yeah, it's a tough game, man. And even when you're a professional, you lose a lot. So um yeah, I think when the timing's right, I'll get back into it for sure. I love the game so much. I play so often, but um for now I'm kind of letting the movie thing kind of roll, and I'll get back to it soon.
No, that's fair. Okay, so you said even as a professional, you're going to lose a lot. So, what do you think the best thing is that losing has taught you?
Oh man, it's taught me so much. You can't let it shake your confidence. At the end of the day, you're gonna take losses. You're gonna be hit, and you're gonna fall. But you have to always have this almost almost blind faith, blind belief that you can do it. And one thing about me, I think, is I'll kind of just jump into the water and see if I can swim,
Okay.
and that's scary for a lot of people, I think, too. So, um, yeah, you can't let losing shake you, and you can always learn from a loss. I don't think many successful people haven't had a bunch of losses. So, um, yeah, that's kind of my take on losing is you just can't let it shake you.
All right. Yeah, I mean, there's lessons to be learned in everything we do, and I think that some people, not that I want to romanticize losing, but I think that there's valuable lessons to be learned from both winning and losing. You learn something about yourself on each side of the coin. So,
Absolutely.
all right, great. All right, so this next question is I like to call it suggestion time, and it kind of ties into the first question. It's a another thing where I'm getting to know you and who you are and what you are and all that kind of again, what makes you tick.
Right.
So, what is Dylan Flashner reading or listening to right now that you think everyone else should know about?
You know, I picked up a Rick Rubin book recently.
Okay,
I don't know the title of it. I gotta realize or remember that for next time. But um, it's basically like little excerpts, like page or two excerpts of just his ideology through artistry and stuff like that. And I found it a really interesting read. Um, right now I'm listening to a lot of hip hop and R&B. So, um, I'm a big Ella May guy. She's a
okay,
really good, talented artist, Kaylani. Um, but J. Cole's coming out with an album soon, so I'm very excited for that. But um,
all
yeah,
right,
mostly been watching movies and trying to keep up with that. There's only so much time, and I read scripts a lot, so
fair
um,
enough.
that's kind of what I'm reading at the moment.
Okay. So, with all this going on in your life, you're a pretty busy dude, it sounds like. You've got a lot of different little irons in the fire, things keeping you going between movies and everything else. So, what do you do in your downtime to help recharge those artistic and creative batteries?
I do a whole bunch of nothing, honestly.
Perfect.
Not knock on wood, it keeps being busy. But when I'm at home, I watch sports a lot. I'm a big sports head, and
Nice.
um, I love gambling on the games. So for me, that's kind of my fun. But hang out with friends, go to comedy shows. I love comedy shows. Um, and yeah, just kind of recollect myself. I think after these movies, you need a week or two decompression to kind of,
Sure.
settle up. And then, it's usually the next round of preparation. So, um, yeah, a whole bunch of nothing, like I don't do much other than work. So,
Okay.
I enjoy it.
I can appreciate that answer. After a busy couple weeks, I'm much the same way. A day of nothing at the house is probably one of the most glorious things I can be
Oh,
gifted. So
I couldn't,
I
couldn't ask for more.
absolutely a sweatpants day. Are you kidding me? Yeah, it's a good
Oh
day.
yeah, it's a great day. Great day.
All right, Dylan, we're at a stage of this interview where I need to ask you a silly question.
Yeah.
And now we call it the silly question because one of our team members here at FSF Podcast, she has a daughter. Kathleen has a daughter, and her
Mhm.
daughter's about 6.5 right now. And a little bit ago, they were out and about, and somebody asked her daughter this question, but not her. And so
Wow.
Kathleen was like, "Well, that's rude. You should never age out of this question." And that
Okay.
question is, Dylan Flashner, what's your favorite dinosaur?
Oh man, that's a great question. Uh,
Right?
yeah. Is a raptor a dinosaur?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll go with raptor. I think raptors are really cool, and um, I root for the Raptors a little bit here and there. So, yeah, I think the Raptors are kind of cool, and T Rex would be a close number two. But
That's
um,
fair.
yeah, I'm surprised she didn't get asked that question. Um,
Yeah,
you know,
I think the person was just trying to have a conversation with her daughter, like, "Oh, hey, what are you interested in?" And Kathleen was like, "Well, I have a favorite dinosaur too." Yeah,
that's so
and the
funny.
one,
Yeah.
yeah, the one that she likes, I can't remember the name of it, but it's got like a horn or something up on its head, and it's got like this little snout thing. That the
Oh,
Dilophosaurus or something like that.
oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah,
No, I'm not vast on my dinosaurs anymore, so I guess I
yeah,
am aging out a little bit, but
yeah. I
yeah.
mean, I know, like, I got the basics down, right? I mean, but we start branching out into some of the lesser known ones that I'm like, yeah, there's a wiki page for that. Let's look that up. Let's go with that.
That might be
So
the most fun question I've had in an interview before. So I appreciate
awesome.
that one. Yeah.
All right. Well, very cool. All right, Dylan. Hey, thank you so much for being on the FSF Podcast today. Where can our listeners and or viewers go to find out more about you, your work, and what you've got coming up?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram. My full name, Dylan Flashner. I'm also on Twitter, but I don't tweet that much, so I don't know if you want to bother with that. But I'm also at Dylan Flashner. But yeah, I just appreciate the support. I appreciate you having me on. I think it's easy to look at the outside looking in and think, everything's rosy all the time. It's tough to put your head down and work, but it's worth it. And I just want people to know that, struggling is part of it, and, just keep going.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I will make sure to include your Instagram link down below in the show
Awesome.
notes when this comes out. That way people can go follow you on Instagram and they'll be able to see any updates that you put out there about work and projects that you've got coming up. Now, guys, this also seems like a just perfect opportunity to remind you that the FSF podcast is on YouTube and it's something that you can follow for free. That's right, $0, 0 nickels, 0 pennies. It costs you nothing to click the follow button and subscribe on our YouTube channel. And in doing that ensures that we get more amazing guests like Dylan Flashner here today and having conversations for you to be able to enjoy and funny moments for you to be able to listen to. So please consider following our show. It helps out well more than I'll ever really be able to tell you. And go follow Dylan as well. He's got some cool stuff, really. He's got some good stuff you're going to want to find out. He's worked with like all the really cool people in Hollywood. So go follow his movies. Check them out.
Did he mention it's free to subscribe? It's free, guys. It's $0.
Exactly. It's a zero cost proposition. So check that out. And it costs $0 to follow Dylan as well. So really,
Yeah.
you're getting a 2 for free here. So
yeah.
So on behalf of Dylan Flashner and the FSF podcast, thank you for watching and or listening today. And may the force be with you as you continue to live long and prosper. Goodbye.
Copyright 2026 FSF Podcast. Reference to any specific product or entity mentioned on this podcast does not constitute an endorsement or recommendation by FSF Podcast. The views expressed by guests are their own, and their appearance on the program does not imply an endorsement of them or any entity they represent. If you have any questions about this disclaimer, please contact us via email at info@fsfpodcast.com.